Welcome right here to the Be Better Podcast on the PrayedUPnetwork. And yeah, amazing. What a day. What a great day to be alive, right? It's been a while. I haven't done a podcast style whatever in a long while, in a little bit. One of my favorite comedians right now currently, and I know I'm not supposed to be loving up on the bad jokers, but William Montgomery. If you watch Kill Tony, which is highly recommended you do, listen, we need to get more humor. We'll talk about that in a minute. But William Montgomery has this amazing character. He just plays this amazing character. And I just find such humor in his ability to make crazy funny. Because I feel like we're living in a crazy, crazy world, right? Like, I mean, right? We had the big breakout with Oliver Anthony Oliver. What is it? Oliver Anthony, I think. And the big song, the whole world is just so upside down. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, I've been in such a stupor for 5 years. I mean, complete walking zombie for 5 years. I literally just came out of what I would call a walking psychosis. And I'm going to share everything about my life openly. That might go against some of the causes of some people out there. Maybe those who want to maybe protect identities and all that stuff. We'll be respectful, but I'm not going to hold back in any part of my story, my life journey, because the one thing I learned was that you need to talk. And I'm going to talk about how I learned that in this journey of, well, let's just focus on alcoholism. I didn't start out the right way. See that? I already failed. And to my brothers and sisters around the world who are members of AA, I apologize. Hi, my name is Kevin, and I am an alcoholic. I just said this for the first time. I've been sober for 15 months straight. No alcohol. No alcohol. No alcohol. Remember I used to say with the big drunk candle in your hand? I no alcohol 15 months straight, but I still mentally refused to comply with the wishes, the necessary that was necessary. I needed to comply with the necessity to admit that I was an alcoholic, and I could not I could talk about it here. I talked about my alcoholism. I talked about it on other platforms, but I couldn't go into a room amongst a bunch of strangers. I mean, I don't know who's listening now. If it's 1, 2, 3 people, I don't know who's listening, watching, whatever. But now I have this newfound sort of like what happens, right? So the stories that you'll be hearing, that I'll be sharing, are all true and going to be played by no actors necessary. That'd be me. It'd be my life. I was asked recently, and by someone who I hold in the highest regard, absolute highest regard, and forever will feel that feeling. I was asked if I enjoyed my story. Now, this person is amazing, and I can understand why the question was asked. Am I enjoying your story? Yeah, it's cool to go from where I was, right, to 5, 6 years ago. I was working at the state capitol in Connecticut as a state representative, wearing a suit and tie, walking around, having everyone kiss my butt, and telling me how I was going to be the next. I could have ran against Joe Courtney. People talking from DC and all these different opportunities, the baby Trump of New London County, blah, 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 politics. And I was buying into the politics, man. By the way, there's no better job for an alcoholic than a politician. That's a fact. Because, I had the plate, right? I had the 45th House plate. I could rock that plate up and down Route 2, man, and drunk like a son of a gun, I tell you. Not one time did I leave the Capitol I wasn't drunk. That's a fact. That's a fact. And so those are times that we're going to talk. We're going to talk about things that really happen. And listen, to anyone that fears any stories being told, I won't be telling any specifics or particulars on anybody, because it's really not the point here to expose anything or anyone. It's an opportunity for people to learn. And I was not really convinced that I had a message to say until really that final message was, or that final question was given to me. Your story. Do you like it? Do you like your story? Well, no, I really don't like my story. It sucked actually to live my story. It really actually sucked. It sucked to the point where I was hopeless and wanted to give up on living. That's how sucky it was. No, I don't like my story. But I do like my life. And I do like where the story is now in the chapter where I am in this walk, as the Christians say. And for you folks out there that aren't the Christian type, it's okay. We're all love here. Pain is part of progress, right? You heard this? You heard it? Got to feel the pain. Well, I felt some pain in the last few years. I felt so much pain that I was hopeless. And although I can say this with clear conscience, I've been an alcoholic since I was 18 years old officially. I would say 18 years old is my official age of starting my alcoholism. I was very good at hiding it. Later on, we'll talk about that. And sobriety, as far as what alcohol did to me, we'll share a lot of those stories, because it wasn't what alcohol did to me. I allowed the alcohol in me and take full responsibility, right? In this story. And the story is a good story because you know what? I get a chance to tell this story, right? Right? I get a chance to share my story and the things that have happened over the last 2 to 3 weeks, even in these, like a couple of these slaps in the face things and personal and business relationships. I still have not lost that hope. Like, I haven't given up. I haven't said, okay, God, you've abandoned me again. No, no, no. This is all part of it, because there is a separation in our lives at some point. So when I began to understand alcohol as being a problem, it took one thing to happen to me to get me to quit drinking. And it was the threat of my former relationship. Get help, go stop drinking, or it's done. And so I quit drinking. Cold turkey. Cold turkey, done. I don't even know how I did it, to be honest. I don't even. I went from. I can put a video up. I might. Anybody that follows us or follows me, Paula shared a video with me recently, and I asked her to, because I remember she had the video, and it was me convulsing while I slept. And I guess I did this all the time. And it's kind of weird, because I think a lot of it has to do with some of those dreams that I have and those things that I'm battling at night. And somebody who might relate to this as well, which is, the reality is that a lot of people in our careers, corrections, I'm not claiming to work at Sing Sing or any dangerous places, but the repetitiveness to negative. And I don't know if that's something that's wordy or correctly said, but I think just the repetitive of negative in your life, and 16 hours a day, 24 hours a day operation. This is a facility I worked in for 21 years, and I know why people need to retire early from those places, because I'm sorry, police officers, everyone has a tough job, and I'm not advocating or separating anyone's need to appreciate them. I'm only speaking because I was a correction officer, but I can say that the COs, man, I want to say that you don't. It's because incredible. They're incredible, and they do a job inside a prison. They're counselors, they're everything, and I always loved the job, but I never understood the job where it's so bad on me. It just weared me down to my bones, right? It made me antisocial. It made me argumentative. It made me angry. It made me delusional. It made me untrustworthy. I'm not joking. It's a prison system setting that I was really raised in, because prior to that, I was basically raised by a pack of animals. Yeah, old mama and papa, and my brother Mike. And the interesting part about that, being raised in really rural Connecticut, Montville, Connecticut, before Casino, Connecticut, we it was country. It was not a lot to do: fishing, fighting, and drinking. Go to the Waterford Speed Bowl. Shout out to the circle trackers, and do all that. And it's interesting because during that process, and again, everything I make comment to has no ill will towards anybody specifically. I'm not looking to fight or argumentatively come hard at somebody. I'm talking about situations that were true and witnessed. I don't think anyone had intentions to give bad, energy to other people. I just think we all been dealing with a lot of the devil in our lives. And it's interesting how you look back in your lives, and I saw alcohol in everyone's hands from the time I remember being born in my life. Always cans of beer, always bottles of wine, always, and quite frankly, parties too. A lot of parties. I mean, a lot. I don't think we party like that in these new generations. They had parties for nothing. They would just party to party like every night. It was just a party, like the '60s into the '70s and the '80s. I was born in '69, and so alcohol was always a part of what I seen. And so, being that, I then went on, right, and went through the process. I think I was 11 years old when I first had my first. I started taking the booze, maybe in the morning, pouring a little sip of the orange juice, had a little vodka and orange juice at 11. Just getting ready for the day. Usual white trash stuff. Trailer parking it. But on my way to school, we'd even sometimes put it into our little thermoses, right? And my parents always had booze. So, I mean, listen, I'm not talking about my parents being neglect, and it was a generational thing, right? It's a generational time that just things happen. And so alcohol becomes part of you. And, I came on today to really just talk about my trip to the AA meeting. It's like a vacation. No, I went to the AA meeting on Saturday night, and I felt it important to do a follow up to my comments, because I had a lot of messages from people that were just like, this is kind of cool. You're being open about your situation. And it got to me thinking about that earlier comment I talked about. And it's interesting because I'm either in a position where I either shut my mouth and just, go drive a truck, go go blue collared up like I deserve to be, because I am who I am, and I have no worries about that. I'll take the blue collar job all day long, or I pursue and follow a couple of these things. And just as I'm thinking about those things, the phone starts ringing. And I started answering these calls last week, and these amazing things are happening around me. At the same time, I'm feeling like I had enough. I think I had enough. This alcohol thing, it's real. We're going to be living with this for the rest of your life, however long that is. The old fart 54. Or you know what? You're gonna be dealing with other issues. If you don't want to listen to that. And so alcoholism, it's something to stick, and it's going to be here forever. But with this whole trying to get somewhere and being on a podcast, and this whole like trying to do all this stuff, come on, man! You saw what you lost for everything you've done, everything you've tried. It's time to move on. This is the devil talking to me, and then all of a sudden you get calls, and you get those signs, right? You get those signs of things that are happening, and you just start to believe again in the projects that you believed in one time. I mean, it's pretty amazing. But if you know what I'm talking about, just amazing. how just some things can evolve over time. Sometimes you put something on a shelf and then it comes back off again, and you're kind of just amazed by it. And likewise, having a chance to speak to some folks down south about some different projects, but incorporating obviously the most important part of everything that I'm doing professionally is put up or shut up all out hunting, and that project's going to be just amazing to be a part of. I didn't get a chance to see the release a couple weeks ago, but I got to talk to some people that have seen it and were really, really, really impressed by the whole show. And that show now is getting shopped out in the Hollywood circuit for a reality TV show coming to network this year. Pretty sure we've had a couple of callbacks and some interesting movement there. So we're really, really excited about that opportunity. So what's that mean? It means that I've been an alcoholic for a very long time. I've been able to be successful and pull things together at times, and I've been able to hold it together even during some really, really crazy times. I've also lost so many of those internal, external battles that were all part of my alcoholism. I wouldn't blame alcohol for any one of my decisions that I made where I've hurt someone or maybe hurt myself. But I would say that I take the full responsibility. And I also take the responsibility of knowing that I have a message to share. You see, alcoholism doesn't discriminate. It doesn't look at color. It doesn't look at your education, your occupancy. It doesn't care what your economics are. Alcoholism is attacking a uh, a majority of every population in our communities. And so you can look at alcoholism as a real root of so many issues in inner cities, of course. We see alcohol sales where they're skyrocketed. That's how you really track this stuff. But when you really want to get to the meat of the matter, right, it comes down to listen. I'm not an anti-alcohol. This is probably going to come across the wrong way, and I don't know how I'm supposed to say this, but I'm sure I'll get yelled at by some authority. I am not against alcohol being consumed by adults with behavior and habits and non-addictive behaviors. That's it. If someone has an addictive personality, and this comes to education, and this is why I think we need to talk about these topics more and more and more and normalize a conversation that has been sort of shunned away, is that we think that alcoholism should be the hidden secret. Well, folks, we all know those secrets aren't true, because every party, every function you go to, there's someone with a can of beer. I was the guy. And by the way, you're going to see me with a bottle of beer. It's going to be non-alcohol beer at the next function, and I'm going to be happy and fine. And for all the critics out there that want to get into the whole, like, this whatever, you can't be around alcohol and everything like that. Listen, I don't, all I know is that what I'm comfortable doing and trying to help, my way I help people is I show them that I'm real, and I found my way from that devilish, addiction, to be satisfied with so much more in life. Of course, Christ, I give all glory to my Lord and Savior, Father, God, for everything that I have. So I understand that, but I share that message with everybody, and I share a message that, hey, I'm normal just like you. So I go to these places. I've talked this out with some spiritual guides and leaders and stuff, and said, hey, how do I handle that? And by the way, blah blah blah. And some have kind of, be careful, but this is me. I'm not changing who I am. God chose me to do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to go do it. So yeah, it's part of my story. You get it? So my story is simple. I have a chance to actually do exactly what I've been asking to do: talk. And it's pretty amazing. And so I don't care, what's the outcome. I'm not into debates anymore. The debates of all these different stupid things. I do want to say that the Be Better podcast, and I want to say this because I know Dennis Williams, watching. Of course, one of our main sponsors is CashMap LLC. Go and check them out. CashMap LLC is the all-in solution to your financial clarity. I'm going to call it financial clarity. This is like a live read right here, and I'm not reading from a script. But Dennis has been on as a past guest, but he'll be back on. And I know he's really excited about what the Be Better concept has in his vision. Of course, he being an author of his own inspirational book, including God and Christ, into all the ways that you can solve these earthly issues. We can live in this life that God has promised to us in a way that can just give hope. And so some of the hopeless need to hear it. So that's why I'm talking. And we're going to continue to talk. And we're going to talk some more. And I am Kevin, and I am an alcoholic. And hope you guys have a great night. That's just a part one. I don't know what else we're going to talk about. So I'm going to bounce off of here and